Okay guys, this is a long playing review for NARC on the Amstrad CPC, and it's a arcade conversion. And recently, and to my most recent videos, we looked at two of the best ever arcade conversions to the Amstrad, and in fact any 8-bit system, which was Paperboy and Donkey Kong. Well, now we're looking at one of the worst arcade conversions, so I thought let's make a little bit of a change to look at something truly dreadful being converted. Now, the original arcade game came out in 1988 from Williams, and yes, it was developed by Eugene Jarvis, and he's a very, very famous game designer and programmer in the 80s, obviously responsible for Defender, Robotron, and later Smash TV, and quite a few others here and there. And he hadn't done many games since Blaster appeared in 1984. I think he went back to university or something, and he came back in 1988 with NARC, which is an ultra violent sort of shoot 'em up, with lots of blood and guts and stuff like that. So it was a rather dubious kind of message the arcade game was giving. It was a very strong anti-drugs. First of all, you can see there on the cabinet art there, it says "Say no to drugs" written on there. But you play two NARC officers basically just blasting and killing everything in sight. So you may want to debate the dubious sort of message it's sending out, or whatever. It certainly upset a lot of parental groups in America at the time. So we're just going to take a quick look at the arcade version, just as a little comparison. And yeah, the arcade version was notable for having the most number of sort of colours on the screen, a very high resolution at the time. And since this was 1988, it wasn't sort of bested in the number of colours on the screen until Mortal Kombat 2 appeared in 1993. It was also, I think, one of the first 32-bit arcade games. And you can see it's absolutely chaotic and lots of carnage, blood and guts and stuff. But those of you familiar with Smash TV will sort of see some similarities there, because that was the next game brought out by Williams and Eugene Jarvis. So let's move on to the Amstrad version, which is the point of this video, and it's just loading up. No one had the guts until now. Quite a nice loading screen actually, with a rather sexy Porsche 911 there. So here's the title screen and some really excellent music for sure. First thing we're going to do, select our controls and get that sorted. I always play using joystick and player 2 on keyboard option 2 there, because the keys kind of get a little bit confused. You end up starting off player 2 playing and pressing the wrong keys and stuff. So yes, we'll just get the player 2 keys sorted here, so I'm not going to hit one of their keys by accident. Very important there, the jump and crouch button. Remember that, make sure that's quite near your fire button. And note there's no key to choose how you fire your rockets. I'll come on to that later. You could have really done with a separate key for that. But yeah, this was came out published by Ocean Software in 1990, but it isn't the usual Ocean Software in-house team. You saw the graphics there by Sean McClure, and well, the graphics are absolutely pouring in my opinion in game, which we'll see that shortly. And I couldn't find any other games on the Amstrad he's done graphics for. Now, the programmer David Leach, I hear is a very, very nice guy. Has contributed a lot to like Retro Gamer magazine in terms of reviews and stuff, but he was responsible for the awful version of Double Dragon on the Amstrad, the crap version, sadly. And apart from that, he only did one other game for the Amstrad called Helter Skelter for Audiogenic Software, but I've never seen a play that. But it's nice that they've emulated the high score table just like in the arcade. That's actually really nicely done. And if you flash back to the start of this video where I showed you some arcade footage, showed a brief clip of the high score table, that's just the same. But yeah, I'm really impressed by the music though. Yeah. So it's not the usual in-house Ocean programming team, and often when they farmed out games to other sort of programming teams like this, and then it doesn't come up to the usual ocean high standards. But anyway, let's start this off, and I'll leave the music in full at the end of the video if you want to listen to it, because it's quite good. And we get a very, very nice introduction cutscene for each level or mission. And you get kind of a heads-up display in like mini computer, giving you information on the bad guy you're going to shoot or arrest. And that looks absolutely gorgeous, very, very nicely presented. So the omens are quite good at the moment that this game's going to be pretty good. So far, the presentation music's been excellent. So here we are. Basically, we are loading up mission 1, level 1, and here we go. And oh dear. Right, first of all we've got absolutely bugger all sound and music. And yeah, guys, I do not like these graphics at all. Sure, it's nice and colourful, but it looks like an explosion in like a Lego factory. It's incredibly, incredibly blocky sprites. Just look at those red guys there. They're like made up of like 4 pixel squares at a time or something. I mean, it's quite awful, really, really badly defined sprites. Okay, they're just you can arrest guys there as well. But yeah, the background's not particularly impressive either. They do the job all right. And it's a bit sort of slow and ploddy. The scrolling is pretty wouldn't exactly say it's jerky, but it's not yeah, the frame rate is not very good at all. Kind of reminds me of eSWAT actually, but at least you can move up and down a level. And there you go, it's quite obvious where we need to go. A big flashing arrow. Got into the pipeline, which is I suppose the subway. I've got to collect a key card here, and then go back out in the streets and get to the end of the level. Not quite sure what the key card is needed for. It's all about gathering evidence and stuff. When you shoot bad guys, there's things left on the floor like so. Picked up some rockets and ammunition for your gun. Those blue vials are drugs. And the more things you pick up, the better, of course, for your score. And there's the red key card we needed to get for this level. And we got the first appearance of some dogs attacking us. Oops, I've just fired a rocket there by mistake. Yes, I'll come on to the rockets later. I mean, it's comparing it to the arcade version. I mean, it plays a similar game to the arcade. I have to give it that. And it's not that much slower than the arcade original, to be honest with you. The arcade original wasn't mega fast paced, but it had an awful lot going on in the game. Lots of craziness happening. It's probably a smaller number of sprites, but I think this may be just to sort of sort out a difficulty curve and level. Certainly by like the final levels, of which there are sort of about 12 in total and about 7 missions. Technically this is level 3, so we're moving quite quickly through this. And certainly a lot more bad guys appear on the screen as you progress. But for the most part, it's a lot easier and safer just to remain ducked. And if you remember, there's a separate key for ducking and jumping, which is the same thing. So it's fire and down. Well, the duck jump key and down key to duck. And if you press the jump duck key with up, you jump up like so. Hurrah! And we'll just jump up to the exit there. And you can find that you can get through quite a lot of the levels just by jumping over things. It's not a particularly hard game to complete. Oh yes, and yeah, there you go. There's sort of the score screen there showing it how you've done your mission. It is actually worth trying to get as much points as possible because you do get extra lives. I think when you get like, is it about 10,000 points? Can't remember now. But there's some nice cool digitised pictures there actually. That looks really, really nice. So we've got to bust this guy with a dubious mullet. And I think in the arcade version he throws like hypodermic needles at you that sort of make your sprite sort of flash crazily like you've just injected some drugs or something like that. That doesn't happen on the Amstrad version, but this is now level 4, I believe. Yes, of mission 2. It looks pretty similar so far. The levels do vary as you move on. There's actually even a driving level in the game, believe it or not. There you go, that's me just arresting someone. It takes absolutely ages to arrest them though, so you often don't bother doing so. You'll probably end up getting shot. Oh yeah, he's throwing hypodermic needles. That's what that sort of strange white thing has been thrown at me is. And that's the guy in blue there. That's the guy we just saw the digitised picture of. But there's lots of duplicates of him appearing in the level. Yes, and they start ducking down as well and shooting at you, so you can't always get through the level ducking down completely. But it's often safer too. The only thing is, like when you do duck down in like the arcade original, you move a lot slower, sort of to balance things out really. But when you're ducked in the this version, you just kind of move at the same speed. So So there's not really that much point of you standing up. I will say though that the animation's pretty good on your main sprite. Quite a few frames there. It's just a shame that the graphics are so poorly defined. Really, really chunky. I remember Amstrad Action reviewing this and saying the graphics were so poor you'd feel sorry for them, give them 10p for a cup of tea. That's quite a good little quote, that. I remember that made me chuckle at the time. So yeah, here's the end of this level. Excuse me. What are we on? I think this is level 5. Is this a drug factory or something? I can't remember. I'm trying to arrest him. Oh, well. Yes. Oh yes, rockets. There's a rocket pickup there. And to fire a rocket, you have to hold down the fire button. Well, for what seems absolutely ages before your rocket actually fires, and that really, really annoys me actually, because you need to use your rockets quite a lot in the basically last 2 levels of the game if you want to complete it, and it's an absolute pain in the arse. I don't see why. We had a redefine options screen where we could redefine the jump and duck key, but not for rockets. And that kind of annoys me. Why that couldn't have been done and implemented, because yeah, there's, I mean, with such a delay before your rocket fires, it's not helped by the fact, oh yeah, we kill that guy and we get a blue key so we can go through that door. That's the end of this level. Then we get a nice little screen there showing our score, the totaling up and what we've collected. But yeah, as I was saying, guys, there's it's 20,000 points. Sorry, when we get an extra life, so it's worth trying to get as much score as possible. Yes, I'll come back to rockets and the controls again in a second because we're going to see another cutscene. Joe Rocket, aka Dumpster Man. Ah, right, guys. Yes, this is a level where we can jump in a car and race across. This is the bridge level, and there's a nice Porsche 911 to drive in this. Now, it doesn't much look like it, to be honest. You'll see in a second. No, 3rd mission out of 7. Oh yes, of course, guys, we've got a radar at the top middle of the screen there showing where enemies are appearing, location of items that you may need to pick up. Quite useful. And obviously you can see the car appearing now. There's some kind of weird looking 911, which looks absolutely dreadfully blocky. And we're going to avoid those strange white squarey things, which are dumpsters. And if you crash into the dumpsters, your car explodes. And I think there's only 2 cars you can drive in this level, so it's worth taking your time not to crash into them. But if you sort of stick where I am and not go at full pelt, you'll be able to avoid where the dumpsters appear. And this is relatively easy level because nothing can kill you whilst you're in the car. Yeah, you can run over dogs and they turn into little puppies and run off. Of course, you can't kill animals in a computer game. That's not on. Well, at least it sort of scrolls fast when you're in the car. Not a good frame rate though. So yes, this is a pretty easy level. This is what, level 6, and there's about 12 levels. So guys, we're at pretty much at the halfway mark of the game already. But I was saying earlier about the laggy controls. Well, I was going to mention the laggy controls. I mean, it's worse enough having to hold down the fire button for absolute eternity before your rocket fires, and it's probably the result of how laggy the controls are at times. Certainly the responsiveness of your fire button for shooting things. There's like you're hammering away on the fire button, you should be shooting bullets and nothing's happening, probably because there's too many sprites on the screen or something, and that's extremely annoying, especially when all the loads and loads of enemies gang up on you in the later levels. So it's just another nail in the coffin of like this poor conversion. Although some people seem to like this version on the Amstrad, I don't really. Kinky Pinky the Clown, he basically likes kidnapping prostitutes and taking them away to have his way with them, or kill them, or knife them or something. And he's supposed to protect the prostitutes from Kinky Pinky in this level, but there's no prostitute sprite or whatever. This horrible evil clown just sort of appears and it just becomes a bit of a nuisance. I think you have to shoot him several times before he disappears. And those guys in blue like to go nuts and headbutt you. Oh, there's my rocket I've just used by accident there. And there's some rocket pickups there and ammunition. Oh, my energy's getting low now. And things start getting really tough now. Now, those guys in blue take about 3 bullets to die. But, you know, because of the lag in the controls sometimes, it's not worth risking trying to shoot them. It's also pretty awkward, the collision detection sometimes of the horizontal plane of where your enemies are in relation to your bullets. You've pretty much got to get it sort of quite spot on. Sometimes you think you're in line with them and you're shooting the enemies and the bullets are whizzing by them. Bit of an opportunity there to take a few pot shots. But basically guys, we're just going to jump through this level. And we're not too far from the exit. Oh, there's the clown, Kinky Pinky, in the white there. He takes about 3 or 4 bullet hits before he dies. But we're just going to go... yes, sorry. Right, there's... Oh, look, there's 4 different exits on this level. And you've got to choose the right one. First of all, you've got to go into one of the exits or buildings to collect a key card. And you need to find out which one it is out of the 5, sorry, not 4. And it's the final one you need to go to first, which is the scrap heap, and you'll find the card here to complete. And then you just need to go to the door before it, the 4th door, to exit after this bit. Otherwise you could be playing through 3 different rooms and wasting a lot of time and energy and bullets and stuff. Now ammo conservation is kind of the key here, especially with the rockets. You're going to need lots and lots of rockets to defeat the final boss, Mr. Big. I think you're going to need about We're going to use a rocket here anyway. Ah, damn it. Lost a life, but we're doing well. You're going to need at least about 20 rockets on the final boss encounter on level 12, and you're going to need at least 4 on the previous level where he appears in a wheelchair to attack you. So make sure you've got lots and lots of rockets before you get there, otherwise you're never going to complete the game. Certainly if you die and start the game on a continue, you only get about, I think it's about 5 or 10 rockets, which isn't enough. But there you go. Yeah, use the 4th door there, and that's your exit from this level. And yeah, things start getting really tough now. I've not done this on 1 life, as you've seen. I've already lost a life. I've done it on 1 credit. I couldn't be asked to play through and do that well. No, it's relatively easy if you just want to sort of jump over bad guys' heads and race to the end of the level. Quite a nice digitised pick there again. So mission 5, which I believe is level 8. You've got to kill all the Captain Sky Highs apparently. And as soon as you start this level, they start appearing on screen, start shooting at you. So you've got to move quick here. Those 3 guys will start running back the other way after you, so knock them down. And I'm running quite low on bullets now, guys, as well. I'm on only about 6 bullets left. I'm going to get that rocket and ammo pickup there. Obviously, when you shoot them, I've just activated a rocket by mistake, and I wasn't holding down the fire button there, so there's a few little annoyances like rockets firing when you've just been hammering the fire button down. This level's relatively short, but keep zigzagging up and down towards the upper half of the level, and keep firing away. If you run out of bullets, you still get like 1 bullet appear, and you can only shoot 1 bullet slowly at a time. So you're not completely lost. And yeah, these guys' bullets will hit you whether you're ducked or standing, so I just remain standing so I can jump. And there's the exit. So on to level 9. We'll just enter the lab there, so we're going back the other way. And we can collect these drug plants and trees. I guess that's probably marijuana or something like that. I think this is quite tough actually. We're just hoping we wouldn't get any of those blue guys appearing on the screen, because they're a real pain to get rid of. It's too difficult trying to shoot them 3 or 4 times with your normal gun. So you're either going to waste a rocket on them, or just keep moving so they just can't catch you up. Although they will pick up one of those plants and start trying to throw it at your head at some point if they get near one. But no, we're just going to get through this level as quick as we can. And we're not too far from the end. There's a green card to pick up, and then we can escape. Cool. That's level 9 done. So yes, very, very close to the end now, guys. Now I have to say, compared to the other 8-bit versions, I have to say the Spectrum version, which this appears to be a port of, certainly it's by the same programmer, David Leitch. Looks like the graphics have just been coloured up for the Amstrad badly. The Spectrum version is actually really quite impressive. The sprites are nicely defined, even if it is in monochrome. There's nice sound effects to go with the game, shooting and explosions and stuff. And it plays a lot more smoothly, if a little bit slower. But actually, the Spectrum version is really quite impressive. Actually, it's quite a good version. And the Commodore 64 version is also pretty good, but it moves way too fast for me. And really, unfortunately, the Amstrad version is like kind of the worst out of the three, I'm afraid, guys. In my opinion, just because of the sort of jerky and slow playing, the awful scrolling, and the most dreadful graphics. Sure, it's got lots of colours, and I do like my blocky, chunky Mode 0 Amstrad graphics, but this is taking the piss. And the bullets just look awful, just horrible big red rectangulars, shapes filling the screen up. And God, everything's moving way too slow. I wish I'd shown you guys on the early levels when you do use a rocket on one of the standard like bad guys you encounter in the first few levels who are in red. Because when you do blow them up with your rocket, the best thing about this game is that they explode into little like gory little chunks and pieces, and limbs go flying. That's actually pretty cool. Oh, the other cool thing about this version is as well, there is 2-player simultaneous action, and that does actually work and play pretty well actually. It doesn't sort of slow things down, thank God. But if you had a mate around, this could have been quite a fun little 2-player game at least. It would have made it a little bit more enjoyable to play. Sorry I didn't take any video footage of that, but just take my word for it, that works quite well. But it'd have to be one guy on keyboard and one guy on joystick, of course. And yeah, we're totally sort of cheating through this level really by we'll just keep moving, keep jumping. Yeah, so we come up to the sort of almost to the final boss battle against Mr. Big. And I think yes, he appears here for the first time, if I'm correct. No, it's on the next level I think he appears. So we're just about to enter Mr. Big's compound or whatever, if the door will let me in. And I've taken bloody hits there for no reason. So yeah guys, as you can see there, lots and lots of bad guys on the screen. But remember guys, we're going to need lots of rockets. And we've got about 23. We really could do a few more just in case really. I think 30 would be a sort of safe zone. But we're going to get through this okay. You're going to need, probably save yourself a couple of lives as well for the final encounter. So if you lose all your life and use a credit, you get less. You lose all the. Well, check that out. Limbs flying from your rocket explosion. Oh, that's actually quite cool. Like a bit of just evil destruction like that. Yeah. So Mr. Big's appearing there in his wheelchair, and the only way you can destroy him is with a rocket attack. This is why we need to save up our rockets. We need to shoot him, I think, 4 times with rockets on this level. And then he appears again in the final level, and you have to wait and see what he looks like then. But he's not in his wheelchair, I can tell you that. Here he is. Whee! And he scampers off. What is it about like final boss guys in wheelchairs? Didn't the final fight of the end boss who's in a wheelchair? And what these arcade programmers have against guys in wheelchairs, but there you go. It's quite a poor sprite as well, that wheelchair sprite. Mr. Big. You don't actually have to hit him exactly with a rocket here. You can hit a nearby sprite of a rocket and he gets yeah, he takes the damage as well at the same time if he's nearby enough and close enough. Whee! Limbs flying. Ah, that's it. Pick up the gold key card and then get into there quick, and then we're on to the final level. And here's the last cutscene coming up. Any second. There we go. Mr. Big is not dead. Destroy him at all costs. Yes, apparently he's very, very pissed off. You've knocked him out of his wheelchair. And just like in the arcade, he's going to appear as like a giant, massive head on wheels or something. Definitely a trademark of Eugene Jarvis. He liked his crazy characters, as you would have witnessed in Smash TV's next game. And here's the boss, just a big, big, big fat head on some kind of moving mechanism, and he shoots flaming tongues out at you. I mean, the game wasn't very realistic to begin with anyway, by a long shot, but this has just jumped in the realms of the ridiculous, definitely. So yeah, guys, make sure you've got about 20 rockets or something like that, because you're going to need them. And he's going to take some killing. Needlessly lost a life there, really. And guys, yes, even if you got lots of credits and continues, if you die on the final level, you lose all your credits and it's game over. As in, if you lose all your lives, you don't get any more credits on the final level. So do be careful. But we're close to 60,000 points mark, which is when we're going to get an extra life, luckily. Hey! So yeah, then he turns into just like a skeleton skull head. And we're running low on rockets, but it shouldn't be too long. Maybe a couple more rockets and that's him done. Hey! That's it, that's Mr. Big defeated. Collects his gold card and we can go and raid his like a personal vault full of gold as kind of like a final bonus screen, just like in the arcade. And yeah, that's pretty much NARC completed, guys. So there's a few people here that they probably like this conversion. Unfortunately, I'm not one of them, guys. There's lots of massive negatives in this game. And as a final score, guys, I'm going to give this a rather poor 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10 from me. Oh well. And yeah, okay. Do we get any kind of proper ending? Let's have a look. And we enter the final exit, and it lets me. Congratulations, you have completed NARC. So that's all you get, guys. A little text screen, and it goes back to the title screen. So I'm going to let you enjoy the music. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to enter my high score, which is nicely done actually. The high score table is pretty cool. But you have to say that the bits around the game, like the title screens and stuff, is well presented, and some excellent music. So I'm going to let you enjoy the music, guys. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and see you next time. Cheers, bye.